How's it going, guys and geeks? Welcome to the Geekritique show. My name is Dakota.
And I'm Jen.
And this is not a normal video for us. We usually don't do these tier list ranking videos, but we were challenged to do one by the fantasy YouTuber Daniel Greene. If you haven't checked out his channel, I highly recommend it. He's an awesome YouTuber doing reviews and like discussions on anything fantasy, anything science fiction that he can get his hands on or have the time to watch, and we respect him totally for it. But he did a video where he literally judged books by their covers and rated them between S to D, and he has challenged us to do the same. Now, we're not choosing the same books that Daniel chose, necessarily.
And we haven't, both of us, read every single book on here.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, I've read that he hasn't and vice versa, and then there are even a couple in here that neither of us had read, and we're literally just going to judge it by its cover.
Which is important.
Forgive us, because this is
okay.
Something you're never supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. I think for the purpose of this video, it's okay. So we're going to start with The Goblin Emperor. Now, this is a book I read a few years back. I've never read anything else by Catherine Addison, but this was such a unique story of just the whole world is goblins instead of humans, and it's like a political and socioeconomic thriller, I guess, in a goblin empire.
I haven't read this one.
What are your thoughts? Instantly?
I love the cover, actually.
Yeah,
I could see that just being like a print that I would have in my house. Honestly, it's really intriguing.
Okay.
It's really symmetrical,
mm-hmm.
except for his eyes that are both looking in one direction, and then you have the blimp there that or what, Zeppelin, and yeah, it's really cool. I like it a lot because
everyone knows goblins use zeppelins. So where would
everybody
you put
knows
that? I'm thinking that's a cover I love, but it's not anything like super amazing to me.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say B.
Yeah.
Maybe A. I would maybe say A, actually, because it's a really good cover. Like, compared to a lot of the other covers, like, I'm just kind of scanning through them. That one's, like, pretty great compared to, like, some other books.
All right, well, we'll go through it. If we need to move anything later, we will.
I feel like you guys are going to watch me change my mind, like, 50 times. I'm going to be like, that one, that's an A. Actually, no, I hate it now. Oh, wait, 5 seconds later, I love it.
Okay, the next book we're going to do is City of Stairs by Robert Jackson Bennett. Now, this is a cover that I genuinely am not a huge fan of. I don't know, it looks like Benedict Cumberbatch is looking at this city, like, through clouds, and it doesn't really, like, mean anything to the book, at least in my opinion. It doesn't reference stairs, it doesn't reference any of, like, the interesting stuff in the series.
I think the top and bottom are just so different.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
Like, pick a theme and kind of run with it. Like this one's like so detailed and like super realistic, and then the bottom's like
so gritty and a different art
like
style.
Grainy. Like,
yeah.
What?
I am going to go ahead and just
D that.
Automatically D that. Now, it is a good book. I do recommend it, and I do recommend any of these books. We're going to link them all down below if you're interested in any of them. But let's move on. And if you are curious, we're actually doing it by the author's last name, alphabetically.
Oh, okay.
So next one isn't actually a fantasy book, but it's the original cover for Ender's Game. And again, we're going to try to do, well, this is actually something we haven't mentioned, but we're going to do the original covers, at least the American originals, because that's what we would be, I guess, originally exposed to. We're Americans. Ender's Game. This isn't a fantasy. This is a science fiction. I decided to throw a few misfires in there, sci-fi misfires. Or, actually, this is a great book. I don't know. It's not a misfire. It's just a different type of thing.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I don't like the picture, but I like how the font wraps around the planet. It's really pleasant. And that really, that is appealing to the eye.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that the lines kind of go towards that, like, everything's kind of bringing you not to the center, but over to the side, and I think that that's interesting.
It's clever, right?
Especially for its time, right? Like,
yeah.
It was probably, like, really cool when it came out. Like, the picture is older looking, but I mean, this is the original, right?
Mm-hmm.
When did this come out?
Oh, I don't know. I'm going to guess 87.
Yeah.
I might be totally wrong. I don't think it's, like, all that great. I'm thinking it's more of a C tier. It's a little too dark for me. Obviously, it's supposed to emulate space.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And I think the ship itself is too yellow compared to, like, how dark Like,
But
like
it's
one
necessary.
side has
That's
literally
necessary.
nothing going on, and the other side has a bunch of stuff going on.
Like half of the actual picture is just like I don't even know what's going on. So for that, it
Yeah,
gets,
is that a building? What is that? I don't know what it is.
I'll put it in C tier. All right.
Okay.
Next up, James S.A. Corey's
Leviathan
Wakes. Now this is a great series. Another sci-fi series. The Expanse. If you guys haven't checked that out, it's on Amazon
Super
currently. But Leviathan Wakes is the first book in the Expanse series. It's a 9-book series. The cover really speaks to me. It's clearly space oriented. It doesn't really give you an idea of what is to be expected. It doesn't give you any idea of like what's in the book. Personally,
I hate it.
Really? Okay.
I hate that cover.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much?
I've always, because I love the title of this book. I've always thought like Leviathan Wakes, like that's a great title.
Yeah.
And then I remember when I first saw the cover, I was like, no, I don't want to walk around with this. It looks like something from a video game. Like,
okay.
It looks like a video game cover. I don't know.
Now, is it D tier? To you, I don't think
to
it
me
is.
it's D tier, but you don't seem to.
I
agree,
don't think so. I was gonna put it in B tier, so
we'll meet in the middle.
We'll meet in the middle for C tier.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
Next up, Neil Gaiman's The Ocean at the End of the Lane.
I love this story.
It's a great story, and it actually does kind of tie into the book a little bit. What the actual image is portraying, and this is kind of how I pictured the shape of the ocean at the end of the lane. What are your thoughts?
I love it.
You love it?
Yeah, I would say no. Okay, love it. I love this book. I think I'm talking about the book. I just keep hearing in my head Ursula Monkton. But yeah, I'd say B probably.
B. Okay.
It's a
Actually,
B.
yeah, that's a solid. Because any higher would be a little crazy.
I don't like usually when book covers are super realistic or like just a picture, but this one's really creative. It's not just a beautiful person's face that's kind of dressed like how the character is supposed to be dressed, just like staring or looking in the distance. Like this is actually cool.
Okay, so this is the original cover
really?
for
This
Assassin's
is it?
Apprentice. It's kind of...
I've never seen this.
It's a little kitschy, but it's like classic fantasy style. You can see Fitz in all his glory.
Yeah.
Now this is the latest cover. I think it's a little. This guy looks a little more like Chivalry's Bastard, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
But what are your thoughts on this?
I like this a lot. I like the detail of like the little weasel. I forget his name in the
Oh, I didn't even
corner.
see that.
And I don't know. Yeah, I like that you can see like the river down like the shore because you could when you're reading the book. You have such a specific image in your mind of what is it called?
Buckkeep.
Buckkeep. And this is a bit different. Like I didn't picture all these arcs, but I like this a lot. It pleases me.
Okay.
Yeah. I like it better than the new one, to be honest.
Interesting.
Because like the new one, it has like the stag in the back, which is like the symbol of Buckkeep.
But it's a little too simple.
And there's also no dog or, you know.
Right.
The wolf wouldn't be in the first one.
What's the eagle doing? There's a few eagles.
I don't actually, I don't
remember there being an eagle in that book. Anyway, the original cover, I would say, I'm actually not as big of a fan as you are. So I'm gonna probably go. I have a very
I love
opinion.
it because of like if you read the book, you see this stuff in the cover, and also I've never seen it before, and I just love that series. So I really like I don't know what it is. I just really like it.
All right.
It's super like campy and old looking, but I like it.
Okay, N.K. Jemisin's the 5th season. She is the first author to ever win 3 Hugos for the entire trilogy. This is the first book, the 5th season, and this is the original cover. I hate this cover.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
It is just...
It's just awful.
It's just bland. It's the most...
It's like way too highly contrasted.
It's like...
What is this book even about? I haven't read this. I don't know what it's about. I hate the font.
D tier, instantly.
D tier.
Instant.
Get out
D-tier.
of here.
Good book. Not my favorite type of fantasy, but it was definitely different, which I appreciated.
Like, is the 5th season cement? Like, I don't understand. What is the season?
Eye of the World. This is the original cover for Robert Jordan's The Eye of the World. I know, Daniel, you did not like this cover, but I will say it has a very... cool, as in like the temperature is very cool. It kind of gives me that vibe going into the book which and I love the detail in the art. Now this is the like full art piece for that, which I think is
much
a
better.
truly beautiful piece. Something about the trees, it's just frames everything so well.
The full picture is really pretty, but for some reason on the cover...
The cover isn't.
You know what it is? I think the sizing is really weird.
It's awkward.
Yeah, it's really awkwardly
You're covering a dragon
framed.
in the back.
Yeah, I think it's like a really cool picture, and they clearly wanted that to be the cover, but it just didn't work. And Daniel, too, made a point that it doesn't really accurately represent the book, which I don't know if I would have thought about because it's been like 5 years since I've read that. But, yeah.
I don't think it's D tier. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I feel like now I'm biased that I've seen the full picture. Like the light and then the dark, like that's so pretty. But I think it cuts enough out that it makes it C tier. I don't hate it as much as I hate Leviathan Wake, so I don't mind you putting it in C tier. I guess I'll put it that way.
All right. Very good. Next up, Prince of Fools. I've never actually read this book by Mark Lawrence. This is the first book in the Queen's War, the Red Queen's War. I don't like it.
Yeah, this is kind of what I was saying, where you have a character that's kind of dressed.
It just looks so generic.
Yeah.
That you clearly have like...
It's just a beautiful actor dressed like in a fantasy thing. And what is... Like, I don't really see...
There's like bones in the background.
I don't think, too, it accurately depicts the vibe of the story. Like, I don't remember that story feeling that way. Like, it's very gritty and dark.
Is it D tier?
Yeah, I don't like it at all.
Okay. There's...
but I am really against the ones where it's like really realistic looking and it's just a person and just like that does kind of bum me out.
The original Game of Thrones cover is very Iron Throne-y.
I think it's really boring.
It's really boring, right?
It's really boring.
Yeah. Sorry, Martin. I'm sorry. The Name of the Wind. This is a favorite of Jen and I's. We've actually done a book club on our channel a few years back of this book.
Yeah, this is one of my, if not my favorite book.
What are your thoughts on the cover?
I've never liked this cover. Another one that I remember because Dakota told me you should read this book, and when I saw the cover, I was like, no, I don't like that it's all like cool colors. Like it's all different kinds of blue, and then you just have orange like in your face. I think it's kind of interesting because it's foreshadowing. He doesn't actually, spoilers, he doesn't meet the Cathay until the next book.
I don't think that even has anything to do with it.
You don't think he's in a field staring at a tree? You don't think that's the Cathay? Is that just supposed to be a regular tree?
This is the original book. The Cathay doesn't happen for another like 6
Rothfuss
years.
already wrote it.
Yeah, but he doesn't have any say in like what they print. He didn't choose this. No.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah.
I hate it even more.
I actually don't mind it half as much as you do, but I actually do understand like where you're coming from. I think when I saw this, I was like, oh, he's in a field. He's probably trying to call the name of the wind. That's such an interesting idea. So it actually brought me into reading the book. Personally, I was very curious about it. But I
think too, it doesn't, again, talk about a cover that doesn't fit the vibe of the book.
I'm not giving it D tier. I'm not.
Especially, can we look at now the...
this is the 10th anniversary edition.
That.
That's a beautiful
That's
cover.
what I'm talking about.
There's a lot of symbolism in there. We'll talk about that in another video, because we don't have too much time here. Sorcerer's Stone. This is a book that literally every millennial has seen. This cover is so super iconic. It's not the original British cover of the Philosopher's Stone, but it is extremely iconic, and for that reason, nobody can look at that book and not get an idea of being pulled into that world.
Or just a feeling. Like, it's so... I don't know. The colors are perfect.
Yeah.
The colors are perfect.
Warm.
It just grabs at you.
It invites you to read it, definitely. Okay, next
And there's a lot going on in the background, too.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
It invites you to pick it up and just look at what's happening.
What is this?
Mistborn. This cover actually turns me off from reading the book. I don't know.
I loved this book so much, but again, when I have a book and I'm going around to work, I have to, pull it out of my bag. This is one that I'm like, people, like, what does this look like? What does it look like? Like, what do they think I'm reading,
I don't think about other people.
It looks very, and I know it's supposed to be a little more YA than Sanderson's other works, but this looks very, very YA, more YA than I even thought that the book was.
They clearly decided to market it as YA.
That's how
it
feels
very
to me.
Yeah. So I
also too don't like when a cover makes me try to picture the character that way. Like, I couldn't picture Vin my own way. I pictured her that way after that, and it was
now
kind
is
of
this?
annoying.
I will say that it did. Like, that's how I picture Vin.
We'll see, but I had that copy of the book when I read it, so I looked at the cover, and then that's what I saw whenever she was... Like, it's not like I had the opportunity to picture the character myself.
C tier?
Yeah. It's not horrible, but it's not, like, great.
Yeah. Okay. The Way of Kings. Now, this is a cover that I truly, truly love. I forget the artist's name, but he also did the covers for the Words of Radiance and Oathbringer, the second and third books in this series. Actually, if you guys haven't already seen this the video that I did about the Stormlight Archive, believe it or not, the second book in the series is the highest rated book of all time. And I explain why in this video over here. So if you want to check that out, we'll also link it after the video. But anyway, I love this cover. I think it totally puts you into the realm of this world.
It's great.
The fact that there's a storm on the horizon, it clearly shows the Shattered Plains. It shows people in Shardplate with shard blades.
It also shows the fantasy landscape. Like,
yes.
That's not a plant that we're familiar with. It looks so foreign, but it's not like the focal point. It's not in your face. It's just on the side, which I think is really cool.
S tier all the way for me.
I like that one.
That's one of my favorite covers of all time, any genre. So I'm very happy with that one.
It's such a pretty cover. I love this cover. I have not read this book.
A Darker Shade of Magic.
But I remember seeing the cover and I was like, I want to read that.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
I had it on my shelf for the longest time. I finally had the opportunity to interview V.E. Schwab at Comic-Con last year. So I had to read it really quickly. And it was a great story. A lot of like teleportation, portal magic in this fantasy series. But I really love this cover. I think it's so simple, but it tells you so much. It tells you exactly what's happening because there's basically
that's my idea of like a perfect book cover. Honestly,
okay.
It's really artsy.
Now, is it S tier? Is it S tier?
I would put that in S tier. Yeah, I haven't read the book, but
you really think that's S tier?
I literally love that book cover. I've never read the book, but
I'm gonna put it in A tier.
I don't like you. I'm gonna if I were putting you in a slot, I'd put you in B tier.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not terrible.
When you put that in A tier, I put you in B tier.
Whoa,
that's what happens.
Chen.
That's the consequences.
Okay, this is a book neither of us have read. We actually saw this at Barnes & Noble the other day. Though. It is such a great cover. I was like at the counter, like I had other books that I wanted to buy, and I was like, do I need this? Ooh, it looks so good.
And we have so many books.
As you can tell.
We have so many books. We were already buying several books. But did you buy it or no? I don't remember. No,
I don't have this. I might get it on Audible.
It's so pretty.
Priority of the Orange Tree. It's such a beautiful cover. The colors are perfect. The composition of like where the title is versus where her name is in the shade over here. And then you have this dragon around this tower. The blue against the orange against the yellow. It's so cool.
There's so much going on.
So much going on.
And I like the contrast. Like you have the dragon in this top corner, like all, rough and strong. And then you have some like beautiful, delicate flowers in the bottom right. I love that.
I don't think I can call it S tier though, because I don't know how well it actually translates into the work.
Yeah. I know.
So, but I definitely think that that's an A tier cover.
It worked on us. Literally the cover drew us in. But we didn't buy it, so
yeah,
I don't know.
Didn't work that well.
If we would have bought it, maybe it would have been S tier. I don't know.
Okay, Brian Staveley's The Emperor's Blades. This is a really cool cover in my opinion. The first book in this series. I forget what the series name. Anyway, but I think it's the best book in the series. Also, I think there's a bit of diminishing returns here, but
this book is actually fantastic. I really love this book.
And this does a pretty good job of like showing you kind of like who the main characters are, main players.
It shows you them without, again, like thrusting an image specifically into your head. Like I can see this and I see the characters, but I also picture them a bit differently in my own head even. And I love that you have in the back, what did they call that in this series?
I don't remember. I read it so long ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago, but
I would say that's an A.
I like when they show you the fantastical elements of a world without it being like in your face, like it's just in the background or on the side or something like that. I think that's cool.
Next up, Evan Partha. Now this is the original cover to Michael J. Sullivan's Rhaenyra Revelations, and I don't like it.
Yeah, me neither.
It's not how I pictured that tower of Evan Partha.
The tower kind of looks like the top of an onion.
Interesting. And that's not how I pictured the lake that it's sitting upon. I don't remember if there was a waterfall beneath it.
There was.
There was? Okay,
yeah,
so...
I think there was a waterfall. But
what do you think in comparison to, like, this is what we remember?
I don't like either of them.
Yeah.
I think the series is so, like, whimsical, and it's genuinely so funny and warm.
It just doesn't have any...
Yeah, it doesn't have any of that feeling that you get. When I think of Hadrian and Royce, I just think of, like, laughing. Like, they're, like, you know, such good friends. And neither of those covers really capture that to me. Okay,
so... we'll give Michael J. Sullivan another shot at this Age of Myth. This is just one of the most beautiful fantasy covers I've seen in a long time.
It's really pretty.
It totally captures the feel of the book. Maybe not the humor of it, but
well, kind of, because it's even like
definitely.
Lighter.
Yeah,
it's light down in the fields with the flowers. What's the dog's name? I don't remember the dog's name.
Anyway,
it makes you really think about the story and how you picture it. You know, I love it. I like it a lot.
Is it A tier or S tier, in your opinion?
A tier. I don't know. No, it's a really great cover, actually. I think
it is a really great cover.
But an S tier.
Oh, whoa.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
Granddaddy of all fantasy books.
You called Harry Potter the granddaddy. How many granddaddies you got?
Young adult.
What kind of family tree?
That's for young adult.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. This is the Granddaddy of Fantasy, The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. This is the first cover. It's so iconic. It tells you nothing and everything at the same time. Mm-hmm. It's simple, and it has the one ring to rule them all.
It's incredibly beautiful, and it's, I think, too, all the better because you know that the author drew it himself.
Yes. But I don't think this is S tier. Well, as classic as it is.
That's S tier.
No.
No.
Okay, all right. We'll put it in S tier.
That's S tier.
For now.
That's S.
You know what really is S tier, though? His other book, The Hobbit. This is a book that he wrote himself. I mean, obviously he wrote himself. He drew himself.
Can you believe he wrote that?
I love the fact that he has the runes going all over the corners. You have the dragon in the background. Or no, those are eagles?
I like the Lord of the Ring cover better.
Really?
Yeah. I like this one. I like it a lot.
I thought this for sure was going to be the S tier. I'm going to put this in A then.
Well, I like them both. Why can't they both be S tier? I don't understand.
Do you think that's an S tier worthy book? It's such a classic cover.
Yeah, no, I know that the cover is really classic. I'm just saying out of the two of them, I like Lord of the Rings better. But I think this is beautiful. And I think, too, the fact that the author drew the cover themselves, it's the perfect representation of the book because of that, all that detail.
Definitely. Yeah, I love it so much. It's such a great cover. Okay, last book.
Actually, can you go back? I like how the trees are darker in the front and get light after. It's like stacking. I think it's a really
cool art style. Yeah,
I like it. Okay, continue.
All right. Terrible cover for The Black Prism by Brent Weeks. Great series. Great first book in the Lightbringer series. But, man,
I hate the shape of that.
Everything.
It makes me really uncomfortable.
It does. It deters me from reading it. Yeah. Actually, I probably wouldn't have read it unless someone had told me about it. Okay, so that's our
there you have it,
tier maker ranking. Guys, this was a lot of fun. Daniel, thank you so much for having us. He actually challenged a few people. He also has Murphy Napier, I think that's how you pronounce your last name, and the Legendarium podcast doing this as well. So we'll also link those in the description below by the time that they're released online. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Definitely check out Daniel Greene. His channel is awesome. We'll link that in the description below as well. And if you haven't already checked out some of our booktubish content, you can check out these two videos right over here. One is talking about the Stormlight Archive being the highest rated book of all time, and the other is how we got these 500 Star Trek books. All right, guys, have a good one.
Bye.